Well, hello there, and you join us here today to talk about not just affordable watches, but high quality affordable watches. Here are 10 great quality watches for less than $1,000. Tom, I know you like not spending very much money, but are you a fan of getting good quality for that not very much money as well?
Yes, if I knew I was going to get great quality, I'd be happy to spend a little bit more.
Well, that's what I was thinking, because we've talked in the past about watches for $100, $300, and often those are really, really good value for the money. But if you want to get, so a little tickle of that great quality, all of the finishage, as they call it.
Yes.
I think you ought to spend a little bit more, but we don't want to spend more than $1,000. So, I'm going to go first, if that's all right, Tom.
Sounds good.
This is a watch from Longines, and you might think, Longines, that's a Swiss watch manufacturer. They make watches for many, many thousands. How are you possibly going to get one for less than $1,000? Well, this is where the Conquest Quartz comes in. All lovely and Swiss, 41mm stainless steel, all of that extra high quality that you can expect from Longines. But here they've packed in a Swiss quartz movement to bring that price down. So if you want all of that high quality on the wrist but don't want to pay more than $1,000, you absolutely can.
Yeah, that's excellent. The Longines name and the Swiss-made label that's dream watch territory, isn't it? So to get all of that for less than £1,000 in what looks like a great everyday watch as well.
This to me is like the Swiss watch hack. You get all that good stuff, but without paying the money, and somehow it all works. That's Longines for you.
Also, you mentioned quartz, which may be a bit of a downer for some people, but I don't really mind it. On the back of this watch, you've got quite a lovely embossed, engraved case back there, which is a valid alternative to a sapphire case back. I think you could unscrew that case back, pop it in a lanyard, and pretend to be someone from the Justice Department. Flash that at people. But yeah, flying hourglasses on your case back's always good. Really cool watch. Meanwhile, I've gone for ye old faithful affordable watch brand Seiko, and this in particular is a fairly recent release. This is the Seiko Prospex Alpinist limited edition rock face. Now it is limited edition to 3,000 pieces, but it's been out for several months now and they're still available, so hopefully you can still snag one if you like the look of this watch. So the Prospex line of Seiko is an amalgamation of the words proper and spectacles. Is that right?
I think so, yeah, because it's properly got a little spectacle on the dial over the date, hasn't it?
So yeah, cool. But you're going to get some professional specifications out of this watch. And it's a proper sturdy watch for climbing up a mountain, supposedly, as is represented by the rock face dial itself, a lovely textured silver dial, which is really, really cool.
The rock face textured dial in icy grey and blue there makes me feel like you need to rub it on your shirt sleeve first before putting it on, otherwise it'll be too cold. It's got that great baby grand Seiko inspired by nature element. Only available in Europe though, so soz. This, Tom, is the Fera Resolute 36mm, and before we talk about the watch, I want to talk about why it's called Resolute, because that sounds a little bit like an odd title. So Fera is a British watch company, and so all of its names are inspired by different British things that have happened over the past. For this one, Resolute is actually in reference to a British Navy Arctic boat which was sent out to the freezing cold wastelands to discover more freezing cold wastelands, and they wedged it into a space too tight and couldn't get it out. So they had to leave it there and go away. The Americans actually found that boat, restored it, and re-gifted it back to the British. And the British were like, oh, that's really nice, thanks very much. The British then tore the boat down after it reached the end of its serviceable life and turned the wood from that boat into the desk in the Oval Office that the president sits at.
Oh, wow.
So forget that. This watch is called Resolute, but actually what's interesting about it is it has a white enamel dial, which is really, really high polish and high quality, and is sat with a really nice colour combination of markers and hands there. Fera is known for high quality, and you're going to get that here, but you're also going to get a really distinct personality with the watch too.
Yeah, I really like that. And I find enamel really, really appealing on a watch dial. Kind of feels like there's a soft glow coming out of it. The numerals kind of feel like they've got a bit of a... Are they actually outlined in lume or something, perhaps?
Yeah, I think so. It gives it that pop in look. Also, if you think, oh, that's pretty nice, but wow me some more, it's also got a bronze cap on the crown, which is really cool, and is powered by the La Joux-Perret G101 movement, which is a little bit different than what you would usually expect. So everything about this has kind of got that sort of like quirky, different take.
Very, very nice indeed. Meanwhile, I'm going to go for another Japanese bargain boy with the Citizen Series 8 Automatic. Now, this is a sport watch of infinite possibilities, mainly wearing for the time. So this is a mechanical watch. It's got a date, 3-hander, nice chunky applied indices on the dial. But what's really the most striking thing about this is the angular architectural case. It's just something very unique that you won't find often at this kind of price point for under £1,000.
It's a bit like if Gerald Genter were only able to design a watch with the very first CAD program. And it's like, after you've inserted 4 angles, it's then going to crash. It's just like slices off, isn't it? It's the very, very first 3D renderings that we ever saw, but in a cool way.
Yeah. It's like a low poly watch.
Just looks like it needs the subdivision surface modifier turned on.
Yeah.
And at 40mm, it's actually eminently wearable. You expect stuff like this to end up being way too big. And as a bonus as well, if you're going to spend slightly more than $1,000, you can get the rainbow dialed iridescent version, which is like a bargain version of that Royal Oak Rainbow they did last year with the sparkly laser disc dial.
Yeah, that's great, isn't it? That's like giving me sort of shiny sticker vibes, which is really good.
Oh, I love those shiny stickers.
I'll trade you your AP for my shiny Citizen.
Tom, if you've ever thought to yourself, I'd love a snowflake, but I don't want to spend more than $1,000, then Zelos got your back, because this is the Spearfish GMT Frost Edition, which applies a textured sunburst dial to the Spearfish watch. As you can see, there's some lovely icy flecks of colour in the cyan blue, dotted about all over the place and in the loom. But especially interesting is that textured dial. It's got that I need to defrost the fridge vibe about it, with the deep grooves layered into the icy white texture. You're also going to get a Sellita SW330 in this 40mm steel case, which overall makes it a package that's pretty impressive for $1,000.
I love that snow texture and the slightly off-white colour paired with the very, very minty cyan.
This whole watch makes me want to eat some minty fresh chewing gum or brush my teeth.
Yeah, actually, it almost looks like the way the texture of this frosty, snowy pattern is sort of like sun-rayed out. It almost looks like you're getting hit in the face with a snowball, doesn't it?
The moments just before.
Next, if you want to talk about high-quality watches with very high levels of finishing and a very high production feel, but for a very reasonable price, then Christopher Ward is fast becoming the go-to watchmaker. And this is the C65 June Automatic, and it's a very, very nice white sand theme going on. Nice beigey coloured dial with a tan strap. The finishing is really, really popping, and I think you get a lot of bang for your buck when it comes to this watchmaker. And in this colourway, I think this is really, really cool striking watch that just looks so much fun.
The devil is definitely in the details. That 38mm case is just layered up with some really nice brushing and polishing in stripes all the way around it that really catch the light. I think they actually call it the light catcher case, don't they?
Yeah.
And the dome sapphire and just the effort they've gone into to bevel the markers and brush the logo. Everything there is considered, and it's stuff that you probably wouldn't notice just in passing, but when you really study it and take a closer view and give it more attention, you appreciate it more and more. It's Sellita SW200 inside as well, which is nicely finished. It just completes a package of a watch that I think is one of the best qualities that you can get at this price point.
Yeah, and those are the watches that are the most fun, where you check your wrist to check the time, and then you go, oh, that's a pretty watch.
I have a similar experience with another Dune, star Timothy Chalamet. I think, oh, he's a pretty boy, and I look at him for a bit.
Yeah.
Tom, if you were to say to me, do you know what, I really like that original Vacheron Constantin 2215 that was made before the Nautilus and even before the Vacheron 222, I would say, Well, if you can't afford the original, check out the Manhattan 37. This is a watch that was made by the creator of the Man brand because he really wanted a Vacheron Constantin 22215 and couldn't afford one. And so he put all of his budget in one basket to create this. You'll notice it's got polished edges, it's got lovely brushing on the case, it's got those stripes in the dial. You can even choose to have it with or without a date. Powered by the Ronda R150. It was a real surprise to me when I actually experienced this watch. The quality is incredibly good for that sub $1,000 price. And it's a nice take on the whole 70s look, but a bit different too, and a nice nod to a watch that everyone has since forgotten.
Yeah. All the lines that are running through it, you've got the very sort of gentle curve on the corners, and then you've got the soft octagonal bezel there, and then all the waves on the dial itself. It's very, very crisp and detailed and really, really cool.
Yeah, it's really nice, isn't it? I love how they've balanced the inward shape on the edges of the cases with the outward shape on the edges of the bezel in the corners. Just balances really well.
That's it, yeah. For my next one, this is Serica watches. And this here is a field watch of theirs. This is the Serica 4512 wristwatch. And what's great about this is, don't be deceived by its very simple field watch aesthetic. Much like the Christopher Ward, the devil is in the details here, and there is a lot going on. There's so much attention being put into the different finishes and textures applied to the various surfaces here. So you've got a very, very straight brushed finishing on the circular bezel there, but then on the beveled edge, it's very nicely polished. The same again with the lugs, and there's brushing on the hands as well. And the bracelet itself is a nice bandolier-esque bong clip bracelet that looks, I don't know if it's like that stretchy metal bracelet that you get.
Yeah, throwback to Grandad's stretchy watch bracelet. Everyone had a Grandad with a stretchy watch bracelet.
So yeah, it just looks like a really rugged, well-finished field watch that just it just looks like it's punching above its weight in terms of value here. €575.
So what I think is really nice here is that there are a few brands that are doing the vintage throwback stuff, but Serica have done two things. One, they have given it a style that's slightly different, and two, they've applied a level of finishing and attention to detail, like you said with the Christopher Ward, where you feel like you're getting something considered and above the value that you would usually expect.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that are above the value that you would usually expect, this is the Corniche, Le Grand Corniche.
Sorry?
Which sounds like two large ice creams, please. But actually this is a 39mm watch with a Seiko NH5 automatic movement. There's definite vibes here of the Langenzoner Odysseus. You seeing it?
Ah, yeah, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, and like the Langenzoner Odysseus, Corniche have gone for the attention to detail. Okay, it's not going to be quite the Langenzoner because we've got a very, very different price going on here. But you can see on the integrated bracelets, the polished center links and the polished bevels along the top edge, the polished bezel and crown guards, the shape of the hands, it's all very intricate and very eye-catching. And it's a nice take because you don't ordinarily see this look appearing down in the lower ends, and Corniche have made it their mission to try and give an affordable Langenzoner flavour at that sub $1,000 price.
Yeah, it's sort of straddling that line between being a steel sports watch but also very, very elegant at the same time. And it's got a nice beveled instep into the dial as well, which, you know, pleases me enormously. Okay, so for the last one, I've gone with Marathon, who are, again, a good place to go if you want a bargain field watch. And this is a field watch, so nothing as elegant as the watches that we've seen previously, but this is just going to be a sturdy watch that you could probably run over and it would be fine. Not a guarantee. This is just going to serve you right for anything. You could take this anywhere and it's just going to be robust enough to deal with whatever you throw at it, and that's just a value proposition when it comes to peace of mind.
This is badged as a search and rescue watch, and it's the medium size at 36mm, packing the M2 auto movement. And you can imagine that in terms of search and rescue, this thing's going to save your life. This is the thing where when those two doors go shunk and your arm is still in there, the watch saves your life, or it deflects a bullet or something like that. So it's not going to give you quality as in, oh, look at the nice little polish bits. Oh, look how it's got all the Swiss fancy pants. This is the one where you go, this watch saved my life.
Yeah, what you're sort of dangling from the mountain by.
Yeah. Arnold Schwarzenegger, eat your heart out. So there you go. That's 10 high-quality, affordable watches for less than $1,000. Dear viewer and listener, what do you go for when you want the best quality for the least price? Let us know in the comments below. Please also like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.